Hello, welcome to 50 Shades of Maintenance. This is our May show. We're going to do a bit of a WLSFA recap, kind of highlights thing, and some topics that have come up since then. And I think we all three agree that this has been a highly anticipated show, at least for the three of us, because I'm like, with the feels and the missing, and I'm like, oh, I cannot. Thursday couldn't get here fast enough for me.
I know, but the first Thursday would have been too soon for you.
Well, right, that's what I said. I knew a couple weeks before the first Thursday would have been just too much. Yeah. But then when last Thursday rolled around, I was like, God damn, why did I say that? Because I could really use a hangout right now. So.
We should have done the private version.
I know, we should have.
Did you just sit around the house in your tiara and just?
Yes. I mean, I've always wanted a tiara, but I didn't realize how much I wanted one until I got one.
Yeah.
And I am going to milk this for the next year as much as I possibly can. One of my local friends, she's a weight loss surgery patient, but she's not in the community at all. I saw her Wednesday, I think it was Tuesday, and she was like, I'm going to take that crown and strangle you with it if I see you wearing it one more time. I'm like, get used to it, sister, because it's going everywhere.
Try and touch my crown, see what happens to you.
That's right.
You don't need legs to type.
What is this? What did the guy say from the NRA? Out of my cold, dead hands.
That's right.
Yes, out of my cold. Yeah. Well, we've gotten I've been collecting a list of things for us to talk about, things that we've kind of chatted about since WLSFA, or maybe at WLSFA, and then I've gotten some questions that have come in, so we have lots of things to talk about. But I want to say something first, something that was an observation about the three of us at WLSFA.
Uh-oh.
So driving home, I realized that the three of us never took a picture together at all the entire weekend, and I was a little bit sad about that. But then this is the way I think about it. I feel like the way we've been friends for a long time, it's almost like a marriage where you're like, I know I'm solid with these people. I can just look across the room and be like, hey, and it's good. I don't have to make a big grand gesture. Sorry, I got bugs flying. I don't have to make a big grand gesture for y'all to know exactly how much I love y'all. So and I think we all three kind of feel the same way. So we all kind of were in our own areas and socializing during the event. And I think that's why we just never other than when we went out to eat dinner that one night.
Which wasn't the best picture ever. We do have that picture, but it's not very good.
All right, exactly. So there's one picture of me and Phil and John, and every time I see it, I think it's Kirk's.
I do too.
You know which one I'm talking about? With the 50 Shades shirt on?
That's
I'm like,
really good picture.
We got a picture. And I'm like, oh no, that's John. That's not Kirk.
Well, yeah, but explain, that was the funniest thing. So Phil and John and I all got dressed that day completely separate without seeing each other.
I left before Kirk came out of the bathroom, so he had not seen me.
I didn't know what he was wearing, whatever. So I get downstairs, and I'm in my 50 Shades shirt and like a black baseball cap and tan or khaki cargo shorts. I get down there, Phil's got his little black Phil hat on, the 50 Shades shirt, and the tan cargo shorts. Then we see John walk in, and he's got his 50 Shades shirt on, but I don't think he had shorts on. I think he had his jeans on.
He had jeans, yeah.
But I just thought, oh my gosh, how weird when we went out to dinner, like there's these three dudes wearing like almost identical outfits, and this lady, and they're like probably thinking like, what is this, like a softball team or something? Like,
I think Phil said maybe it looked like we're in a band.
Perhaps.
And in that town, it probably didn't even get 2 looks. Probably was
right, exactly. Like,
yeah,
whatever.
Anyways, that was pretty funny. But I think too, the other thing is that I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to think about it being time for us to leave, or I keep thinking, oh, we have tons of time to do all the things we do together. So I don't even think about it because I'm just like, meh. You know.
Well, late on Saturday night at the Lipstick Lounge, I was like, we need to get together and take a picture. But there was so many people and so much chaos going on. And just in a move to get to somebody, you'd see somebody else. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. It's okay.
You guys bring that up, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit too. Did you guys not feel more like ambassadors this year? Like, I felt more like I really was there for other people. Does that sound?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I just felt like
I'm there. But to make people feel welcome.
Right, and yeah, like I really was an extension of the event, even though I wasn't officially part of the event, if that makes sense.
Right.
I mean, we were.
You were kind of, yeah.
which I think will dovetail into another conversation I think we want to have at some point about next year, but we'll get to that. But
yeah, no, I think you're right. I think I made, based on the feedback that we've heard from other conferences of people not feeling included or feeling left out or things being clicky, I think I know that I personally made an effort to be a little bit more open and aware of that. So if I saw people sitting or a person sitting or whatever, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because when Kirk and I were downstairs, we were walking around and people were walking up and talking to both of us and talking to us separately, and I felt like an ambassador, like welcome, and like, I mean, not consciously, but I immediately stepped into that role of like being supportive of everybody who was there and like, oh yeah, good to see you, and like, and that whole feeling of like you've seen these people before, even though you've never met them before, because you've seen their videos every week, and it feels just like, oh yeah, there's Takesha. Like I see her all the time. Like even though I've never met her before.
Yeah.
That's so strange. Yeah.
Well, and I think too, we've been to enough events now that the unknown is kind of worn off. We know exactly what it's going to feel like and seeing people, and so you don't have that anxiety going into it the way it was in the beginning. And that was one of the questions that I think Liz Kilpatrick had asked was. Everybody's been saying, this is the best event that we've probably ever been to, and I have to agree. That's how I felt too. And why? What is it that? Why was this one different than any one that we've been to before? Y'all have any thoughts?
Well, I think you mentioned so there wasn't a lot of anxiety or like the big buildup that we normally have before an event. It's like, oh my gosh, it's 18 hours until, like, literally it was like, oh my god, it's already almost 18 hours,
right.
Got to get ready. But I think not wasting all of that sort of emotional energy on anxiety or the build-up. Just going for the excitement and just kind of I don't want to say relaxation because we don't relax very much, but
right.
Like going just for the experience, the excitement. I think it makes a difference.
I said the same thing when I did my update video, my little recap video, that I think there was less build-up than what we've had in previous years for previous events. And when you build it up so much, it's hard to live up to that thing that we made it. Where this year there wasn't really hardly any build-up, and there was a little bit, but nothing major. So there wasn't as much to live up to.
No, but it exceeded
Right.
I mean, there are things there's no way we could have planned some of these things and had them go.
So
perfectly, and just be funky and unique and drama-free, well, at least for us, I guess. But
yeah, there was one nice thing about that. I did see some drama, but it was not our people. It was a generation down or two. And I just was there to kind of walk them through that. There was a couple times where I just was there to support that person going through that moment and having that emotional, the WLSFA emotional moment where you just kind of crack.
Yeah.
And I was just there to kind of soak that up and tell them it's going to be okay, and make sure they got in their cab or make sure they got in their car, or that, whatever what case was. I just tried to really be that soft place for them to kind of have that moment and not judge it and then not let it feel like drama or let somebody else blow it into drama. It was really
nice.
Very different this year. I kind of felt more on the other side of the veil, if you will.
You're such a good man.
I will tell you that, and I'm probably jumping the shark here a little bit, but I came downstairs to Chopped, and I was like, okay, one more. You got to be on for 2 more hours. Just be on for 2 more hours. Give. Got done with the show. Had a great time cooking. It was fun. It was great. Hugs. Left. I went upstairs to the room. I turned everything, I kind of just quietly lay down on the bed for an hour until Kirk came up and just decompressed a little bit because I'm I can't give anymore. I've given everything I can give to everybody emotionally, mentally, and not our people, but I mean just strangers, pictures and listening to their stories and sharing my story again and again and again and again, and just fatigued me to the point of I got to take a break. I just got to lay down for an hour, just sit here and think about things, but it was good. I mean, I felt like I had given to my max, but that was the line. I was done. One more day I would have been crushed. So yeah, I don't know. Did you guys have that kind of feeling, or did you ever get to that point where you were fatigued from it all, or?
No, I didn't. I mean,
good.
But then of course, I knew that I had all of Sunday evening, and then I had that haunted pub tour planned, so that was something that I was really looking forward to doing. And then I knew I was going to have a really late flight the next day, so I knew that I could probably decompress pretty much the next day because I actually moved out of the convention hotel to another hotel downtown to be closer to the pub crawl thing. So I don't think I had one of those moments, but I'll have to tell you the fact that like our pub crawl group started off like with 25 people, and then sort of whittled down to just 4 of us by the end of the night having dinner someplace, and that was really, really super nice. So, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually get to talk to like just 4 people at one time, and because it was 2 of the.
It's kind of nice to have those small little groups, you know.
Yeah, well, 2 of the people I didn't know. I really didn't know very well. So yeah. So I was like pretty stoked about that.
Well, I never really got to that maxed out point, but I know what you're talking about because I feel like I've had that in previous years, but I think this year I got a little bit, just a slight smidge of anxiety driving to the hotel on Saturday morning or Friday morning when we first got there, and because I was like, "Are you nervous?" I'm like, "Oh, just a little bit," just because I know it's sometimes it is a little bit overwhelming when you have people who you don't know come up to you and say, "I watch all your videos," and they say all these nice things to you, and I get a little bit of anxiety just about that, but I never felt spent from it. I never I don't know. This year was different. It felt really good. But I've had those times where I felt like I needed to go to my room to retreat a little bit and take a moment and then go back out. But not this year.
And I mean, 50% of that could have been just coming down off the drinking and the not sleeping. And I'm sure there was
the lack of sleep, right?
Well, there's that last day. Like, okay, the last night you try not to go as hard. And the next day you're kind of detoxing a little bit. And I always feel hyper self-conscious during that day. Like, was my joking too much? Did I say things inappropriately? Was my timing off on my jokes? Did it not come across the way I intended to? Like, I get real weird about it. And
you start thinking again.
Right. I think the
Phil
trick
might be overthinking something. No, right. I don't believe it.
I think the trick is to have like one drink that morning to kind of just
take the edge off.
Shampoo effect to get the lather back up a little bit, and then just slowly come down off that one, like just one, and then just kind of come down off of it. Because once we got to the airport and had a drink, I felt better. Like, okay, one drink and I can kind of come down and feel normal again.
Well, that was nice too. That a whole group of you guys were leaving at the same time, or you got to spend a little bit of time at the airport too. So that's nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I meant to. Should we just assume that everybody knows what WLSFA is? And because I had meant to say that before we started, and I just realized I didn't do that. So
I think it'd be hard pressed not to know after watching the videos the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so if you don't know, you could probably go watch any of our videos, or you'll just Google WLSFA and you'll see what it's all about.
So are there questions that are specific to that?
To what's WLSFA?
No, to the event overall.
Yeah. But I'm trying to get it. Let me get it in the other order. I had
organized.
I know.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
While you're ordering it, I just want to make mention of one thing, and I had a lot of anxiety about this today, and I don't know. Well, I know why, but so Lauren had her plastic surgery today, and she had a shit ton in one surgery, which really had me a little nervous. I'll just be honest, that's a lot of plastic surgery. But last I heard, she came out of it, the other side just fine. So anybody who's wondering, she's out, she's alive, she's recovering. So awake. And then Alicia, beautiful Alicia, is I think discharged today.
Yeah, she's 2 days out, right?
Yeah, 2 days since having some reconstructive surgery as well. So cheers to Alicia.
Yes, congrats, ladies. It's a big recovery, but it's going to be so worth it. It really will. Okay, so we've had multiple questions, and I'm going to try and scoop this all into one topic. So Patty has sent me a message, and basically she wanted to know, do you ever feel like, being that we vlog so much on YouTube and we share so much of ourselves, that maybe sometimes we share too much and people know a little bit too much about us, and so then that gives them a feeling that they know us, and so they can be more familiar with us than what we are really comfortable with. So I guess part of her question is, do you ever feel like you've overshared on YouTube? And if so, do you regret it? Kirk?
Yeah, Kirk.
No, I don't think I have. I mean, I even like, gosh, I mean, I want to go back and watch my video after WLSFA, the one that I made just hours after it ending, where I'm just like, the camera's upside down, and you know, I just had to get that stuff out, and it's like, part of me is like, oh, do I want to leave that out there, or do I? And then I'm like, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Like, so I feel like I'm talking about for me personally. Yeah. I want people to know me at that level, even if I don't know them. So it doesn't. So I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't bother me, because with me, I'm pretty much what you see is what you get. So I don't know. There's not much of a line between this me and the real me, other than I do try not to talk about boobs and stuff like on here like I do in person, because it's, you know, this is forever and this is out there.
Right.
So I might be like a lot more inappropriate actually in person than I am on YouTube. I don't really regret anything on YouTube or on Facebook, because I feel like I'm pretty filtered.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So you feel like you do hold back just a little bit, like you don't go full throttle on YouTube, so there isn't as much to maybe be concerned about, right? So you
right, and it's not that it's not like I'm acting a different way. It's just like maybe I'm just PG-13 as opposed to R or NC-17, because I want to be really active with organizations and stuff that sort of frown on being too. I don't want to be offensive. I don't mind being controversial, or I don't mind being edgy, and I don't mind provoking conversations and making people face preconceptions about bearded hairy men, gay men. I don't know, but yeah, no.
But you're a responsible adult, is what it really.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I play one on the internet. I play one on the internet.
You play one on YouTube.
I play one on YouTube. But no, but in person it's like like I said, we just bump up the rating system just a little bit. Right. I can see what my audience is like, or what my crowd is like, and see what they can tolerate, and then I'll push it just a little bit further.
What about you, Phil?
No, I think I was gonna say, I think after the video that got made in response to my week 65, 66 video, how can I not push myself emotionally a little further than I'm comfortable? Like I almost feel more of a duty to do that. And I've felt that all along. I've always felt like, be at 93% honesty. I'm gonna hold back that 8%. I'm never gonna tell you intimate details of my kids or my partner or whomever, I'm never going to share that private stuff unless it's direct, just about me, But that being said, and I've had to walk that line, and I've been accused of the vague booking, but that's because I walk shit all the way up to the line, and I can't go any further. I've got to vague from there, or let you, figure out what I'm kind of trying to get at without saying it. And I think that the videos where I've been the most, and I've said this before, where I've been the most like, Jesus, I don't know if I want to leave that out there. I feel really vulnerable there. I feel really scared there. Those are the ones that get the hugest response. Like, those are the ones where people are like PMing me privately and being like, thank you so much. And, I thought I was the only one. And, like, there's something to that honesty, and it's me trying to give back more than even the people who came before me gave. I'm like Corey's given a ton, and I think about Corey's videos often. Like, that guy's really put himself out there, and if he can do that, I can do that. So
I think you're up to at least 98% now, as opposed to 93.
It's a lot easier now that my life is a little more mine, if you will. But there's that 2-3% I still save for me and mine. So how about you, Tanya?
I think I probably overshare just a little bit, but I can't imagine, kind of like Kirk, I can't imagine not putting all of me out there. I would feel like I was being fake or phony, and so I don't regret anything I've ever put out there, but I do think it does make people feel like they know you, because they do. They know a lot about you.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
you're just not personally interacting with them. I do try to hold back on like Facebook with like pictures of my kids, making sure like they don't, like, their school isn't out there, like where they are. That's just really a safety thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of a reason why I have never merged the two accounts together, because I really don't want to give up all of my WLS friends on Facebook, people that I don't really know, but I know they follow me because of weight loss stuff. But I really don't need a lot of strangers knowing everything about my family. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why I've still kept that separate. But I do think it gives people a sense of knowing you in a way that you don't know them, and so that kind of phases into stuff that's been stewing up in the community about people maybe reaching out to you that with how can I say?
Where are you going right now?
Well, before you segue to that,
Phil knows where I'm going.
No, frame your thought on that. Frame your thought on that, because I want to think. I just want to share one little insight, which is it was weird for me. Like, I had that weird moment at WLSFA where it was Bling Night, and there was that banner outside the dining hall had all the logos, the WLSFA logos and stuff. And I happened to be taking a picture with Takesha, and which it was a great picture. I wish it turned out a little better because my phone sucks. But because what a wonderful, wonderful woman. But yeah, we're taking a picture with Takesha, and then there was quickly a line of people to take a picture with Fat King's Phil in front of the banner, and there was that moment of like, what the fuck? Just like, I'm
this is
just
weird.
me. Like, but these people all think they understand. And I know they know a piece of me, and that touches me in such a big bad way. It does, but there was that moment of like, what kind of arrogant prick am I that all these people want to line up and take a picture with me? But I saw this with Tanya, I saw this with Kirk. I mean, people are just coming up. Can I get a picture with you? Like, that's weird. Like, I'm just a guy, dude. I'm just. But if it makes you happy and I helped you even this much, then yes, absolutely. I'd love that. Touches me. I mean, that video, like, in response. That really put things into perspective for me. If I can give of that to make your journey that much better or make you feel better about the decision you made, then I'm happy to do it. So thank you to everybody who did take a picture. But there was that weird out moment for me for just like a split second where I'm like, wow, there's a line of people. And it's just me.
Did you see how hot you looked that night, though?
Well, it was before I had the kilt on.
I know, but even, I
know. We were some pretty sexy looking men. I'm not going to lie.
I was like, ooh, Phil. Like, I don't know if you should even go out in public like that. You're going to get lost.
Eric even gave Kirk the business for me being that good looking that night.
I was getting a little jealous of all, like, not of the attention you were getting, but I was like, no, he's mine, bitches. Yeah.
My roommate.
My husband.
I had an experience not that long ago on Facebook. Because, we have the YouTube Addicts group, and I help admin for it, and if people try and join that I don't recognize readily, I'll PM them and say, what WLS did you have? Because I figure if you don't know what WLS is, then you're probably not a weight loss surgery patient and you don't belong in the group. So that helps screen a lot. Well, somebody had wrote back and said, oh, I had BSG and it's been this long and I've lost this much. And I'm like, oh, congratulations. They were a year out. I'm like, I'm a vet. I'm like 4.5 years out. And I was getting ready to send the picture like, hey, this is my before and after, and the person came back and said, Tanya, I know who you are. I know you and TJ and Phil. Y'all are kind of a big deal. And I was like, no. I was like, I don't even know how to respond to this. Like, that is just so weird. Because I said, well, that's not how I see myself. So I assume nobody knows me. And so it was one of those strange moments, those, surreal moments. But
I like it. No, I know how excited I get when I see people that I recognize and stuff.
Right.
I'm like, so I love it.
Well, I had that moment with Takesha when I'm like, oh my God, you just don't know.
Yeah.
I love your energy, and I know if I'm having a rough day, if I watch one of your videos or see a picture, you're always so positive and happy, and it gets me going. And she's like, I can't believe you're telling me this because I feel like that about you. And we just had like a little moment. It was really sweet. It was really, really sweet.
That woman is a sweetheart, hands down. Amazing woman. Like smaller than you think, much smaller. She's a compact amazing, but just all that amazing. You just don't expect her to be that teeny tiny. Like
yeah, she's
that
like
much
5'2",
amazing.
maybe.
Should be in a bigger body, is what I'm saying.
There's so much happy to put out there. You expect her to be like 5'9".
Expect her to be 6'6", like Amazon, like warrior princess. You know, that's really what you expect.
She's classy too. Classy, just and
beautiful.
And not classy and not judgy.
No.
Right.
Humble. Which I love. I love that combination. I don't like the judgy.
Yeah.
I don't do well with the judgy.
Well, there was a little of that in the community this last couple of weeks.
Oh well.
I think that's where Tanya was starting to go, and then we have a whole other.
Oh no, that's not. Actually, that's not. I know what you're talking about now, but that's no. I'm gonna touch on something else first, and then we'll go there.
You go for that first, and we'll.
All right, guys,
okay.
I guess
circle the wagons back around that.
Where it gets juicy, I guess.
Well, it's just like with maybe for females, and I think possibly for males too. I wouldn't know, but if you have somebody of the opposite sex contacting you, or maybe at an event they feel a little bit too familiar with you, and they talk to you in a way that you feel is inappropriate, or they interact with you in a way that you feel is inappropriate. It's come up and it's been asked that we kind of address what's the best way to handle situations like that when maybe somebody comes on a little too strong. And I've really thought about this a lot over the last couple weeks because I've had it happen a couple times. I don't think this happens to me as much as it happens to other people, and maybe it's because John's so prevalent in the community. I don't know, so I don't get it as much, but I have had it. And so I was just going to talk about my experience, and then y'all can give me your opinion. But I think that for women, and probably for men too, when you've been heavy your whole life and you've never been the rejector, but you've been rejected, you know how shitty feeling rejected is. So if somebody were to come on to you and you are not interested, or like me, I'm married, you want to let them down as easy as possible. But I think sometimes you can't let people down super crazy easy. You have to be somewhat direct and let them know, I'm sorry, but you can't speak to me that way, and I'm not interested, or I'm married, what have you. And so I had an incident about a year ago where someone was speaking to me a little too familiar, and I think that a lot of times they see how we interact with each other, and sometimes we get inappropriate, but at a friendly level because we're friends, so it doesn't mean anything. But they think that they could speak to me that way because I interact with y'all that way.
Leave that to the professionals. We are professionals.
Right.
Leave it to the professionals.
So I had to tell this person that I'm sorry, but I don't appreciate the way you're speaking to me, and I'm gonna have to unfriend you. And the person apologized. And I said, I accept your apology, but I can't stay friends because I don't feel like it's an appropriate thing. So I didn't block the person on Facebook or anything, but and I accepted the apology, and we have had very little interaction since then. And I've had a handful of incidents like that, but handling it directly, it stopped. Like I didn't have any problems, and if it hadn't stopped, I did talk to John about it. Even if something comes in that's inappropriate, I tell him, like, somebody messaged me and they said this, and he's like, well, how are you going to handle this? Do I need to step in? No, I got it. But if the person wouldn't have listened, I would have had John step in. I probably would have told y'all, just so that y'all know, because like my inner circle, my close friends, I wouldn't be out there spreading it like gossip, like, you're not going to believe what so-and-so sent to me. Let me send you a screenshot of it. But I would have said, this person, if you have other female friends, have they said anything to you? Just to get a feel for, is it just me? Because guess what? It's probably not just you. If somebody's being inappropriate with you, they're probably being inappropriate with other people too. But I don't think it needs to be taken to a level where it's a big gossip thing in the community either.
I'm gonna jump on it first because I think that we have created an environment in which, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like if you see Kirk and I exchanging beard glitter, that's like that's Kirk and I. Like we're brothers, and we know like ha ha ha, this is funny, and like everybody will get a big kick out of it. And we love each other. We do love each other. We love each other very much as family. Like so it's totally comfortable. But people see that with me and Kirk, and see me and Tanya hugging, and maybe Lauren and I, or everybody who's kind of in the I don't want to say inner circle because that sounds so elitist, but people who have been in the core group for a long time. Sarahs, if I'm with the Sarahs and you see me, like, if you see Sarah and I making all googly eyes, right while Chris is 5 feet away, Chris Waffle's 5 feet away, he knows that that's not real. John knows that anything I say to Tanya, no matter how inappropriate, it's not real. Like, there's a safety to that. And people see that and they're like, oh, this is the crazy deviant people I heard about, and I want to be a part of that, so I want to be tier 1 too, so I'm going to jump in and I'm going to be inappropriate too. We set a stage with our familiarity and years of very close, intimate knowledge of each other. Intimate sounds terrible, but like
no, but it's true. That's
it's very intimate stuff. Not physical intimate, but intimate in the sense of like
emotionally.
I have cried with Kirk on the phone. I have cried with Tanya. Like we have cried together. I think all of us. I mean,
yes.
I mean, they have seen the weakest parts of me, and still love me anyway. And they don't judge that, and I don't judge them. Like we've been there for each other multiple times.
It's not a surface friendship.
No, this is not just something we get together once a year. This is shit that's every day I'm talking to one of these guys. And when shit goes sideways, these are the people I call.
Right.
To the point where I think they've really replaced a lot of my core best friends, like best friends from growing up, because we share a very common bond. And I think people see that from the outside and they think, oh, they see the surface version of that, and they don't understand the roots of it. They just see the plant. They see the flower. They don't see the roots.
Right.
And the roots are something. It's like an iceberg. You see the tip, but you don't see the shit we got.
They don't see all the shit.
Yeah, you don't see
all the manure that makes that beautiful flower.
Exactly. So I think that people think, oh, they're just having fun, and I want to be part of the fun, and I'm going to be inappropriate too. And they don't think they're being inappropriate. They just think they're joining in the fun. And the fringe people all of a sudden feel, ooh, he or she's being creepy, or they're being way too sexually aggressive, or way too familiar, or we kind of poured gasoline on the fire. I'm sorry, like we did that. But if you're going to be around us, you're going to risk getting a little eyebrow singed. That's just going to happen.
What you're saying is you can understand why it could be confusing.
Oh, totally confusing. Yeah, it's confusing for somebody on the outside trying to get into the inside circle. Like think about Gastric Tiger when we first met him. Scott's definitely tier 1 inside the circle now, but when we first met him, I'm sure that was crazy and intimidating as shit, because he walks up to the pool and we're all, Sarah Waffles spitting vodka into my mouth, and sitting in my lap between my legs, like I mean, this looks like quick Caligula.
But you know what too?
It's really not.
I think too, and I guess where I was going to is with not being direct up front too. That this was I don't really care for you to speak to me that way. Mm-hmm. If you entertain it and you don't ever say that, and you let it go, and you and you kind of joke it off, and because you don't want to make the other person feel bad. But you're perpetuating the problem because you're not giving your boundaries. And I think for me, and I'm sure for a lot of females who never had to reject before, you don't know how to set those boundaries because you don't want to hurt people's feelings and make them feel bad about anything that they did. And you don't want to make them overthink things that they did. But you have to. Otherwise, it'll continue.
Right. I want you to get in on this, but I just want to make one more point too. Is like in project management, we have a saying that no is sometimes the kindest thing you can say. When a sponsor comes to you and says, "I want you to add X," no, because if I do that, what you really want, that core functionality that you hired me to manage and spend $500,000 to deliver within 6 months. It's going to be put at jeopardy if I give you this other thing. So I'm telling you no. So sometimes being honest with somebody saying, thank you, I appreciate it, but that's inappropriate for our relationship. It just makes it easier on the other person. And it's scary. It feels like, oh, I'm going to hurt this person and I'm going to be inappropriate. And oh my God, I remember when I was rejected and they're going to feel terrible. But what you're really doing is just saying, hey, let's stop this here before anybody gets hurt. That's really what you're saying.
Right.
But Kirk, I'm sorry, please join.
I don't know that I have anything extra to add on top of that, other than I'm all a fan of being just very direct. I also always come from a place of positive intent, so I will always kind of come to my own conclusions with everybody one-on-one. If I think that there's people that could use some help in social situations, I'm there to offer it. I am also a big believer in go ugly early too. If it's
fail early,
if the person you're trying to help or whatever is not receptive to that feedback or whatever, and so yeah, I just don't want. The whole event was fantastic, and it was
right.
Why let something like that overshadow it at all?
Yes.
Like, I mean, it wasn't. Especially when the intent was not.
Well, and I'll say this on the flip side of that is coming from a point where you want to put yourself out there and you maybe want to try and flirt because now you have a new body and you want to get into a new relationship, but you don't have experience on how to flirt. You may go inappropriate because you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you're the things that you're doing now are stuff that you probably would have done as a teenager, and you would have learned that was inappropriate. But so I have a bit of a forgiveness for that too, because there's a learning curve there. Just like there's a learning curve to say no, there's a learning curve of how to put it out there and say, I'm available, are you available? You know, don't just walk up and put your arm around a girl's waist, or just because you see I have my arm around Kirk's waist or I have my arm around Chris Waffle doesn't mean it's appropriate for somebody I don't know to come put their arms around me, you know?
And this does not help. Like, if you have this going through your decision tree.
Apple juice?
Apple juice. If you have apple juice going through your decision tree.
Lemonade.
Not a good idea. Like, you really need to realize, like, I know that I have had a drink. My judgment may be a little impaired. I need to probably divide by 2 or 3 before I'm doing anything. So when I act, my outward actions should be divided by 2 or 3. So
run it past somebody. Like, I think I'm going to go do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to go talk to her.
Come talk to another guy, or if you're a girl, talk to another girl. I think I'm going to go smack Phil's ass.
Right.
Probably shouldn't do that.
You might want to take that down just a notch. That might be a little bit too aggressive for the first contact.
Don't come ask me, because I will be the one who will be like, yeah, go do
Kirk
that.
will say yes.
Yeah, I'll be like, yeah. Like,
Kirk, can I wear your kilt downstairs? Yes.
Yes.
She's got no underwear. Got it.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
All over it.
All right, so that, like I said, and Phil made a good point. I don't want that to be like the big. No. That was a fraction of the event. The event was fantastic, so I don't want that to be any kind of spoiler. That was just something that I think that it's a different thing that happens when we all get together in a group. That is a dynamic that
any group dynamic.
Yes. So
any group dynamic.
There are people that want to magnify small problems into. And look, I'm not picking on anybody, but there are people who inherently want to take something small, let somebody else build on it, and turn it into something bigger than it really was. And I think that you forget that in doing that, you are technically bullying the person who maybe made a mistake, like in a drunken mistake, even at that. Like, the intent may have not been that. It may have just come across that way. So try and be sensitive to. Yes, it was maybe you felt it was inappropriate for you, but they may not have intended it. Like, I know that perception is reality, but try and give people the benefit of the doubt and just tell them, hey, you may not be familiar with this, but that's not appropriate. Like to Tanya's point, just say it up front, and to Kirk's point, just fail early, just shut it down early, and let them learn from that. I mean, all education is expensive.
And then see what happens. Like, that's how I handled that last situation. I'm like, I'm gonna see what happens. If it continues, I'm gonna have to block. If the messages don't stop, then I'm gonna have to block. The messages stopped, and I've actually messaged with the person once or twice since in an appropriate way. So problem resolved.
Yeah.
I made the boundaries, and we're now within those boundaries. So it can be handled, you know.
And we're going to get off the subject, but this is such this segues into something that I just realized this week even. Like, let me see if I can frame this in a way that's going to make sense to the context of this discussion. But, like, there is the way sometimes you want people to perceive you,
Mm-hmm.
And you want them to see you a certain way. Like even after all the weight loss and you want to see, like as a man, I want you to see me as strong and broad shoulders, and I'm gonna take care of your problems, and I'm gonna shoulder all this, and I'm gonna take care of you, or this situation, I'm gonna be the man, I'm gonna step up, be the dad, be the whatever. But sometimes maybe what they really need to see is the real you, not the you that you want them to see, because they actually find more value in the real you, who's vulnerable and maybe flawed and maybe not, polished. Maybe they find more attraction in that to you as a person, a friend, a lover, a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, whatever.
Brother, husband.
Brother, husband, exactly. Like if you can be, because I can be that vulnerable with Kirk, and Kirk can be that vulnerable with me, we're actually closer. I don't want, like, I may want him to see me another way. Like if I just was trying to front for him, that would come across false. And I think that you need to be that vulnerable with yourself. That's a very strange thing to do. And I don't know if that makes sense in the context of this, but it just kind of reminded me of that. So, sorry, continue.
No. Well, that's it. I think we're done with that topic.
Yeah.
So, but Phil, I think you should go on to the topic that I know you were going to address. The other pink elephant. I'll be right back. I'm just.
Very. She says pink elephant and runs away to get it. So. And I got a lot of private messages about this, and I want to clear the air around it. Not clear the air, but I want to make my intent clear. I responded to an article called "The Pink Elephant in the Room" that was written by Carrie Dela Cruz. I thought it was well written from this perspective of her fronting her position, and I take no direct. I'm not at all upset with her for her position. I think first thing out of my mouth was I commend her for separating herself from the situations she doesn't agree with. But I found a lot of the verbiage of that article to be iron fist, velvet glove kind of stuff where, well, I don't care about this, but pow, like here's 5 different ways I'm showing you it's wrong. And I did respond to it in I try to be very thoughtful and very respectful in my response, which originally, for some reason, the post disappeared immediately off of her page and then came back. So I'm not saying that she did that. I'm just saying originally when I said, oh, it was taken down in my original post, that is not true. Apparently there was some kind of technical snafu. So I deleted that from my original post. But I did respond to the fact that I think that this is a good example of how someone's perception versus another person's perception may be very different and equally innocent. And I just would encourage people to think about things like, I think the one thing that I really wanted to get across in that article, other than using kind of her own points to show her how maybe she was being a little judgmental, was that I've met people, I'm not just going to read this a little bit, I've met people at WLSFA who were blocked their whole life from having the types of social events that maybe she was being a little critical of. Because they were on the outside. So people who couldn't run a 5K because they were maybe too fat to walk. They couldn't walk. They had a scooter. Now they're running a 5K. People who couldn't enjoy a cocktail because they were on a litany of medications to control blood pressure and all these other, more what do they call those?
Comorbidities.
Comorbidities. Yeah, thank you. There were people who couldn't dance because they had pain in their knees and they were self-conscious of themselves. And still to this day, maybe they couldn't get up on a stage and do karaoke because they're still self-conscious. And maybe they need a little liquid courage to do that. Everybody who drinks to have that social lubrication and fun is not an alcoholic. An alcoholic, and I'll tell you what an alcoholic is, and this is where I may get a little preachy, but my grandfather was an alcoholic, drank himself to death by the time he was a police officer. Saw a lot of shit on the job, drank himself to death in his own bathroom. He pretty much bled out in his own bathroom when I was like 3. My dad, alcoholic, had to have a drink every day, functional alcoholic. He died at the same age, 6 feet away from that. And so I'm very sensitive to the pitfalls of alcohol and what it can be. So I don't say it lightly is my point. Not everybody who drinks to have fun is an alcoholic. And I think that there was some kind of overtone to the article that kind of came across as that everybody who drinks is just a debaucherous alcoholic who has transferred their eating addiction to drinking, and I just took a certain amount of issue with that and tried to present another argument. So please don't go after Carrie for her position. She's entitled to her position. I offered another position. I would appreciate you considering both and making your own decision. That's all I'm saying on that matter. And it comes up every WLSFA. The drinking piece comes up.
Every
and
event.
I know this is the part that's weird. I was like, no, it's us. Like, I do know it's us. There's no doubt about it. We drink, we have a lot of fun together, and then we also, but you don't see us the other 300 days of the year. I won't even say 365. 300 days of the year where we're sober and are nurturing each other and nurturing strangers, and like we're not drinking. You know, when we're not drinking. That's where I'm leaving it. So your guys' thoughts you may tack on as you see fit.
Kirk, you want to
go?
Okay. No, I agree, and I think that, you know, not just the WLSFA event, but any event you go to, and I compared it to like going to a wedding, any kind of social gathering that you go to, there's going to be drinks there. That's society, right? I mean, and you can choose to partake or not, but if I'm going to any kind of social party, which is kind of how I feel about WLSFA, you know, not the sessions, but like the nighttime activities and like things that we do post-event, like when we go out afterwards, we are going to I'll speak for myself. I'm going to have drinks because that's what I do when I'm social. So there's nothing wrong with it being social. If the only time you ever see me is at a social event, I guess maybe you might think I'm an alcoholic because you see me 3 days out of 365 and I'm drinking those 3 days. But that doesn't mean I'm doing that the other 362 days of the year. So to make that correlation is there's a disconnect there.
I just want to be clear that the person who lives in New Orleans says she only drinks 3 times a year. I said 65 days a year, and I live in Colorado. Just to be clear.
I was just talking about WLSFA.
Oh, just go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely. I mean, like I have the same thing. I have alcoholism and drug addiction in my family. Both sides of my family. I've seen it up front, close quarters, and so I'm hyper aware. So I kind of came from the same point you did, Phil. That it's like, no, you can't go there because we know that. We know, and if anything, John is my gut check. You know, he's had alcoholism in his family too, very close quarters. So if ever one of us feels like we're getting out of line, I know I have my gut check there. It's not going to be from an outsider looking in at a social event to tell me we're being inappropriate. So
yeah,
Senor Kirk.
You know me. What am I? Norway, Switzerland.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, you know, I felt like she was entitled to her opinion. I feel like we're entitled to ours.
Right.
The only thing that I had an issue with was the fact that it was shared briefly on the WLSFA official website, and I just felt like there was so much positive momentum from the event that having that posted in that time frame kind of was making it divisive and kind of taking away from all the positive things that had happened and all of the anticipation for next year, which is going to be fantastic. And the people, and I believe Carrie's on the board as well. The board was very thoughtful and instantly had made a common sense, I think, the right decision to say, hey, we're not going to ask anybody to delete anything, but maybe we're not going to promote this necessarily on the official website, which is great. I have nothing but full respect for that entire organization and how hard the board works and how hard the volunteers work. And if it's a dry organization, I can totally respect that. Like if I believe so much in that group and the mission of what they're trying to accomplish. If they said, hey, we're going to have these meet and greets, but during convention time or in convention space, you know, we're going to be dry, I would still go and I would still support that 1,000%, but you better believe I'll have some.
Absolutely.
You better believe I'll have some like unsanctioned events that are happening, you know, around the clock.
After hours, right?
Because many of us save our vacation time for this, and it's like this is our good earned hard money, and this is our vacation, and this is replacing a trip to Cabo or a trip to Hawaii or whatever, or a trip to Las Vegas. So there's going to be a hugely social aspect to that, and we are very social people, and we like to imbibe and enjoy each other's company. So it's like I believe that I think there's enough room for everybody.
Yeah.
in that particular thing. So I'm glad that it was kind of addressed, and then we've already moved on.
Yep,
Well,
absolutely. And I think,
I had that same feeling too. That when I initially read it, I was like, no, no, this has been such a highlight of
don't
my
bring it
life.
down.
Really,
Yeah.
don't bring it down a notch. I don't want it to come down a notch. It was fantastic for exactly what it was, and it wasn't a drunken debauchery.
I had that moment where I was like, wait, if this is really the position, I gotta be careful.
No, I know what you're gonna say.
If this is the position of the WSFA, then do I really want to contribute more? Because I really do feel in my heart that I want to give more. I really, and I talked to Tanya about this, and I know Kirk, you probably feel the same, but like, I do feel like I want to be more engaged, and I think I can give just a little more, even if it wears me out and fatigues me emotionally for those 3 days. Or I could really give more.
Yeah,
like,
It's that valuable of an organization.
Like, I would give more. It's worth it to me to be that drained, and I would just I would give myself just dry. Like, I would just need a vacation after that. Like, hence, we'll talk about that too.
Well,
but,
we'll talk about that too. Yeah.
We'll talk about that too. So, but my point being is, like, I can give more. I can give more. I know I can. I have that strength. But if it's an organization that's going to say, and I'm not saying this was not their position, this is my point. Like, well, you're one of those debaucherous drunks, so no, we don't want you. Well, then, I would have some choice words to say there too. That was not their position. Their position was, look, we don't serve, and they didn't say this, I said this. They don't serve drinks at the official event.
Mm-hmm.
I was never inebriated on a panel. I was not inebriated in an audience of a panel. You should count caffeine as an inebriation. I feel like the event was respectful and sober, and even the dinners, like the nighttime dinners, they did not serve alcohol at the table on the cowboy night or on the bling night. If you brought a drink in your cup, well, that's your business. But they did not promote it, but they certainly did not take a position on no, you shouldn't either.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's, I think, the appropriate position for them. Like,
I think it was too.
And I think they did a great job, and I would love to continue. I would love to give more. I really would. So
yeah, no, Phil, I had that same moment for just a second. I'm like, oh my God, if this is what they think. But then I was like, no, hold on, let me just reach out one-on-one instead of like making a big, huge post or big deal out of it. And sure enough, my suspicions that we're dealing with reasonable people here who actually, really do appreciate the support and everything. It was fine. It actually solidified things for me a little bit more, and I'm really looking forward to next year.
And in saying that, I think we may have set an inappropriate. We may have maybe misframed Carrie. I am sure there is a group of people who are like, look, we don't want to do that. We don't want to be a part of that drunken partying. Like, we don't feel we need that. As a matter of fact, we're kind of terrified of it. Like, it kind of scares us that we may transfer our addiction. I'm not saying this consciously, but subconsciously they may be like, we don't want to even risk it. And you know what? I say to those people, I 100% support you. I will not pour a drink down your throat. I will not ask you to come join us. I won't peer pressure you into doing anything you don't want to do. I will respect it. So I have that. I do respect the fact that you may not want to be a part of that. And we will do our very best when we're off time, not on convention time or not on the event time, partying and having fun, to not encroach upon your decision not to do it. That's totally fine.
Right.
You can be over there, we'll be over here, and everybody can have their own fun time, and we'll still love you, and you can still love us, and we'll just call it even. You may not support our decision, we may not support your decision, but we can respect you. And I think that's really what it comes down to. So
go ahead, Tanya.
Well, I was gonna say we actually got that was a question that came in as a topic, was from somebody who's never been to an event before, and she said that she has a fear that she might feel out of place because she doesn't drink. And I don't want to give the impression that everybody that goes, it's like a total party atmosphere. I think you can go and hang out with people who drink, hang out with people who don't drink. It's not. I don't want to give that feeling that there's a drunks over here and the teetotalers over there. And that's definitely not the situation. And I think we probably have several people in our group that don't drink.
Gooch does not drink.
Right, exactly. And if you're, and John doesn't drink that. Like if he goes, he goes hard, but for the most part, he doesn't drink hardly anything. And so, I mean, if you're okay with hanging out with people who drink, you're fine. Like you're not going to be shunned if you don't drink.
And if you're not, go hang out with the other group. That's fine too. There's nothing wrong with them either. They're amazing people.
There is somebody for everybody at
Absolutely.
And we always need drivers.
Absolutely.
Kirk said we always need drivers.
I'm joking.
We'll pay you like Uber. It's great.
Yeah, we'll pay twice as much, and then donate that.
Because we actually like you guys.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I know. So it was good. I thought it was. I think there's a place for everybody at these things. So.
And if you think that Phil, Kirk, and Tanya are drunk from Saturday morning till we leave on Sunday, you're highly mistaken. I'm just
right.
There were and I know I'll speak for Kirk and Tanya both in this, but there were many very deep emotional conversations at different times. I will name no names, but both nights I was outside in front of the hotel waiting for somebody to come be picked up by their Uber, their cab, their friend, where maybe I had something to drink, but I was starting to sober up, and we were having very deep emotional conversations about very serious topics, and I'm talking like very deep, core-seated kind of stuff, where I was listening and trying to nurture that person and be a good friend and be a good WLS representative. I'm not just being some drunken guy who's trying to like, come on, let's keep the party going. Stop being a fucking party pooper. No, I'm like, stop, listen, meet this person at their need. Like, that's who we are. And if we cut loose with each other, well, that's fine. We already have met each other's needs already. So I don't know. It's just something to think about. It's not so black and white. It's in the gray.
That's true. And here's what I would challenge to the folks that are out there watching that may fall into that category of like, I don't know if I want to do all the drinking stuff. So what would be really, really helpful at these things if the people who did not want to participate in going to the lesbian karaoke bar or whatever as one of the things, make some suggestions then to those people who don't want to do those types of things instead of just sitting around complaining about the people who are doing stuff.
Right.
Right.
Because it's like it can't just be left up to everybody to always make stuff happen for you. It's really what happens. You get what you give, and I think I mentioned this in the video. And it's like, and that goes the same with your experience, no matter what that particular experience is or what's involved, whether it's life water or whether it's cranberry juice. It's really, if you really want something to happen that's not related to a party bus or going to a honky tonk or whatever, and let me just put a disclaimer in there. None of those things were part of the WLSFA officially sanctioned event things. Those were just things we were doing as friends. Just let's go do these things. Come up with some stuff for you guys to do then, or whatever. But I'll tell you, we're already thinking. We, meaning the PNW people, are already thinking of ideas that we can incorporate as officially sanctioned group events that can happen that don't involve partying or whatever, that are going to be fantastic. No spoilers because it's all still being planned or in the works. But let me just say you have been heard. But then equally, we need people who feel that strongly about that position to start coming up with some ideas for people to do things maybe late in the evening after the events are over, so that they have an alternative and feel like they're still part of like a festive group and having meaningful relationships and whatever.
Right.
And to Kirk's point, if you want to get a bunch of people together who want to talk about, you guys want to say, hey, after the WLSFA event, after the Bling Night, or whatever it's going to be in Oregon, after the Space Age Night, we're all going to get together and go discuss the unexpected outcomes of weight loss surgery. Like, we're going to have a very serious, emotional conversation. Anybody who wants to come is welcome. Go do that. God, please, yes, there are people who need that. Go do that.
Right.
We will probably be doing something different. It doesn't mean that we don't support you. We do. Like,
right.
But we may go to Lipsticks, or we may go to, what's the name of that crazy bar we went to?
Crazy Town.
Crazy Town. Crazy. I had it right in the name. Crazy. Like, I cannot tell you guys how safe and wonderful and drama-free Crazy Town was. Like, I literally was jumping up and down in my spot to the music. I was so happy with how happy everybody else was. Like,
Yes.
I was so happy about Scott and people I had just met and Belle from Australia and all my friends. They were having such a good time, and it made me feel so amazing.
And new
inside.
people coming into group. People I didn't even know their names.
Didn't know
and then,
their names.
Aaron and Patricia Miller, like I wouldn't normally hang out with them, but they were dancing with us on the day. I mean, it was just a fantastic mix of people. I
look at those pictures and I'm like, that was the quintessential perfect night. I see pictures of me on stage with Kevin Mahoney, who was hammered off his ass. Like, so was I, singing Purple Rain. Like, because I wanted everybody to sing Purple Rain because I want to sing Purple Rain. But like, everybody just had a drama-free, let me be me and just not be judged and loved and with my people. And we lit that place up. That lesbian bar loved us. They were like, who are you people?
The lady who owned the bar came up to me towards the end of the night, and she's like, I don't know who y'all are, but we love y'all. And I'm like, we love this place. Like, we're having the most fantastic time.
I mean, like, please go have whatever that is for you. Have that moment, and please open that up to me. You may be open enough to be strong enough to say, I'm going to do X. Who wants to join me? If 5 or 2 or 1 other person joins you, and that gives you that kind of, like, that happiness, God, do it. Please do it.
Yeah.
Like, I want nothing more than for you to do that. Like, I want you to have that same feeling I had. It was no stress, no drama, no John's there, Tanya's there, Kirk's there. Like, all these people are there. I'm like, Scott's there. I mean, whatever.
You know what? That reminds me of something I wanted to say too. When I was saying, Liz was asking like, what made this event better than other events in the past, and I think that too, the sessions that they had this year. Yes, we were all on at least one panel, but I think in prior years a lot of it was focused on newly pre-ops or maybe just pre-ops, and I didn't feel like I had as much to take in from those sessions. But I feel like there were more sessions this year for people who are a little bit further out, that I felt like I had something that I can learn from or relate to more than like what protein to eat and that kind of thing. So I think that's another thing that made this event a little bit better than prior years.
I agree. And there, not only was there stuff more towards people that might be further out, but there were also, like, Sarah Waffle's goal session.
Right.
You could be pre-op or post-op.
John had a whole list of goals from Sarah's thing. Like, that's just a good life. You can relate it to your weight loss surgery, but it doesn't have to be weight loss surgery related at all.
I totally agree, and I think that where the 3 of us could bring something huge to the WLSFA organization would be to really structure, especially if it's going to be bigger, based on some of the stuff we heard, and I won't divulge any of that information, but knowing that potentially could be 5 times bigger if it really wanted to be next year. I think that's where the 3 of us bring something to the table of being connected to the WLS community in the YouTube space, where we could really structure the types of talks and panels that are presented.
Yeah.
We could color code them as newbie, media, like in process and maintenance. Like, color code those events.
Right.
And be like, you may want to pick a couple colors, even if you're way out here in the beginning. You may want to hear what the veterans are saying, like, hey, what to expect, what you don't expect from weight loss, which is something that they approached me about doing. If we could color code those and get people into the right events and get bigger rooms and get bigger, I think the 3 of us in particular could really contribute that kind of insight to the organization.
Yeah. To
shape a much more dynamic and efficient panel of talks. And I believe that with all my heart. I'm not being arrogant. I really do feel like we can bring that.
I think so too.
It's going to be exciting. I'm just telling you
Yes,
now. It's going to be.
I think Kirk, you talked about and this is so no-brainer to me as a man who was like, I need to find men in this community who have done this. Oh, wait, they're all gay. Like, why are they all gay? Like, why are these guys so brave? Like, I think there's something to be said about the LGBT community and weight loss. I think there's something to be said about the things you don't expect. I think there's something to be said about being married and going through this process. I think there's something to be said about losing a marriage in the process of this, or losing a relationship in the process. I think that there are topics that we could bring to the table if we had more time and more space and bigger gaps. And I don't know. That's just my thought.
Yeah.
And I am committed. I'll tell you guys right now. I'm committed to. And I told Sarah Waffle this as well, that I am committed to getting plugged in and giving more of me if I can. Like, I really want to.
Yeah.
Well, you will, trust me.
It scares me a little bit.
That's okay. It should scare you a little bit.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say about it, if we're done talking about the sessions, is I want to say that I thought they really did a great job with the vendors this year. And for the people who may wonder whether or not the registration cost is worth the event, I think it's a bargain, considering not only all of the work and all of the space that they have to, pay for, but like you leave with a lot of stuff.
This year was crazy.
Today I ran out of protein bars.
I'm like, I didn't even look at the swag bag actually until I got home. Well, that's not true. I did take the Skinny Pop out and eat it while I was there because my addiction to Skinny Pop.
Preach.
But I was looking at the other stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a really nice lunch bag. Oh my gosh, this is a shaker cup. Oh my gosh, this is like another protein bar. Oh, what are these? Oh, these are all some kind of low carb, crunchy bean things. I mean, there's like every kind of protein mix sample in there, vitamin sample. I mean, the swag bag is probably the biggest bag that I've seen. And if you hung out long enough, especially towards the end of the conference, the vendors don't want to haul that stuff home.
Right.
So there were people leaving with cases of things for free, and bariatric vitamins aren't cheap, and some protein powders aren't cheap, and the vendors were so generous and so friendly. And I think Phil and I stopped and talked to the one vendor, the cute lady, that had the sunglasses, giving away sunglasses.
Yeah.
Because I was on the way down to the pool anyways, but they were just so friendly and so engaged and so happy to be there, and they were totally like vibing
and she
on
actually
our
asked a lot of questions of us too. Like, she was like really engaged, totally engaged.
It's kind of an NSV when she had to, I think, ask you, Phil, if like, wait, did you have surgery? Like,
she asked us both. She was like, you guys had surgery? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and then of course we're wearing matching outfits, so she probably thought we were a very nice couple.
We were a very nice couple. We were a very handsome couple, I'll say that much.
Yeah. I felt like I should have wore a shirt, like, I'm not with him. Or yeah, but it's pretty good. So I want to give a shout out to the vendors for being so generous and attending.
Yeah, definitely great.
Because especially since the vendors play a big part in what makes the event profitable, and so definitely we want to, if you go to the event, please make an effort to spend time with each vendor. Even if you don't think you would initially be interested in what they have to offer, you might know somebody who is interested in what they have to offer. And I know what it's like to be at these kind of things and trying to stand there at a booth or whatever. Don't wait for them to engage you. Just walk up, start asking them about their product, ask about where they're from, that kind of thing. But again, engage.
I agree, because I didn't go around the vendors at all, and I really regret it, because I was like, I don't need the protein powders and da-da-da. And then after I got in the swag bag after we got home, I was like, damn.
I could have used 10 more of those bars.
Yeah, like I took some snapshots of things that I was eating, because I'm like, I need to order this. Like, this is a nice snack to have sometimes. So I like those little wafer bars that there was little with the chocolate coating.
Yeah.
And those were so good. So.
There was a couple of vendors there too that only sell their stuff through WLSFA. Like, they only sell to doctors, and they've made it available through WLSFA. So like, if you want their protein bar, you have to go through WLSFA, and I'll tell you, some of those were the best ones. I was like shocked by it. All they do is focus on the medical potency of how much protein and taste and carb. Like, that's all they do. They only deal with doctors, so they are very focused. Some of the best stuff I had, I think.
Yeah, I was like, damn, next year I plan on spending more time with the vendors.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell everyone now, bring an extra suitcase, because You need more stuff. I mean, you'll leave with more stuff than what you came with, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Did y'all hear what John said?
Something about a bender.
He said next year you plan on spending more time on a bender. John, you're bringing down our.
Bring us down, John. How about those PB2? How about those PB2 peanut butter like cookie little?
Well, you know, I used to eat those all the time when I stopped getting them because I could like eat a ton of them. But I like those little individual bags though. Those individual bags are only I think 100 calories, so that's like the perfect little portion size. So.
Oh, I gave my son one. I almost regretted it after I did it. I'm like, damn it, I want it back. Yeah.
They're like Nutter Butters. They're so good.
Oh, so good.
Some other highlights for me were Family Feud.
Oh yes.
That was pretty.
Oh,
good.
that's one of the questions. What was some of the highlights?
Yeah, Family Feud was pretty funny.
I loved Family Feud.
Yeah.
That was a good to uplift the night because it was kind of a lot of talking beforehand, but that kind of got the crowd into it. I mean, the whole crowd was yelling out answers, and that was fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
So that kind of begs one question. I mean, and I would definitely want to get the questions, but something happened at the Bling Night dinner. I hate to be this guy, I so appreciate the people who bared their souls and did this, but there was a big Debbie Downer moment in the middle of the whole Bling Night where it kind of did this very, guys help me here, but
theatrical
downer kind of sad retrospective of what it's like to be overweight, and I just thought, wow, this night was on such a high, and as much as I appreciate all the bleeding of heart that went into this, it was the wrong time. It was just
I agree, wrong time.
It was a great thing.
Good content, wrong time.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I left. I left because I couldn't emotionally handle it. And it wasn't that they were amazing. I could tell they were amazing from the go. But I'm like, yeah, let's go upstairs and refill our cups because I don't want to be a blubbering, crying mess at the end of this. We got to go.
And seeing stuff like that, that's good feedback, especially for people who are participating in the planning for next year. I mean, sometimes it's an experiment, right? Because this is still an organization, still very much in its infancy.
Very young. Mm-hmm.
So, you live and learn. I mean,
great content, wrong time. Wrong time.
Yeah, I thought that,
I think that should be an optional show. You should be able to go to that show. You should be able to say, I want to attend that show and experience that.
Yeah.
And really
I appreciate them willing to take chances because remember the year they took the chance with Lisa Lampanelli going to appeal to a wide spectrum of mostly Midwestern soccer moms. These things. I'm like, of course, I'm sitting on the sideline going, what's going to happen now? Is she going to start talking about her black boyfriends? What's going on here?
Bring me more Skinny Pop. I need to watch the rest of this.
Yeah, hurry, look at the Skinny Pop. But so I appreciate them taking chances.
No, I do too.
Exciting.
Hands up.
Well, that was okay. So that was Brandy, Brand's story. That was one of her questions was, what was your favorite moment? So Kirk said his was your favorite moment from WLSFA was the Family Feud.
Well, I said it was a highlight.
A highlight.
No, I have to say, okay. So the official sanctioned part of the conference, my highlights were definitely the men's panel because it worked out better than what I thought, and I was really nervous about doing it because I had some hesitancy about the topic and the way it was
branded,
sort of
presented,
with no women allowed.
I agree.
But it worked out perfectly because again, we're dealing with reasonable people here. We're dealing with adults who can think, and it's great. So that was a highlight for me because it turned out better than I had anticipated, and the guys were so great, both the people who were on the panel and then also in the audience participating. So it made it a lot easier.
Agree.
The highlight for me of the sanctioned event, and I hope she's okay with me sharing this. Well, I talked maybe a little bit about it before, but I got, because of my vantage point of sitting at the judges table after the bariatric chopped thing, I was actually sitting right in front of where Carney was kind of doing her meet and greet and signing people's aprons or whatever. And the highlight for me was watching her exchange with beautiful Alicia Contreras. See, it'll start getting me like
You're
going, but
misty.
it's like that was by far everything that that conference is meant to be in that short 15-second, 30-second exchange. That will, if everybody could feel like that, as Alicia did, and as Carney certainly felt, was touched and was clearly emotionally affected by the exchange, and how touched I was by it, if everybody could have even 15 or 30 seconds of that at any point during their journey, that will go so far in something that you'll never forget, something that I'll never forget. So for me, out of the officially sanctioned things, that was my absolutely most favorite moment, was being sort of a voyeur into that situation. But I'm a promoter supporter, right? So for me, this
Right.
is wonderful seeing all that kind of stuff. Unofficial, unsanctioned events or unsanctioned thing by far was getting whatever it was, 100, 150 people into this tiny lesbian bar in Nashville. You know, we had our soccer moms and our dads, and I think one of the physicians came, and it was just this diverse group of people who just would not normally congregate. And it wasn't even like this place was in a good part of town or even in the downtown. It was in a small
Right.
neighborhood, you know, and we just went in and we were welcomed with open arms, and they had
We
a
were.
karaoke stage, and they had a beautiful patio that was all lit up. So you couldn't have made it any more perfect in terms of that. And then seeing the combinations of people getting on stage and singing together.
Yeah.
And then, so my unofficial favorite moment of the unsanctioned was the performance by Miss Vicky Buffon.
Right? I agree.
Because
Wow.
not
Yes.
only was Joey's costume spectacular, not only was Sunny's co-costume spectacular, but you would never have pictured or thought that this gorgeous drag queen with 7-foot high hair was going to get up there and sing "The Devil Went Down to Georgia."
Right.
I know that was Joey, and I still cannot connect the dots in my brain. Like
Yeah.
that was how amazing he really was. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
holy
I
shit.
mean, so
Like,
that was probably the highlight, was lipstick karaoke night, and then that performance in particular. And then sanctioned was the exchange between Carney and Beautiful Alicia. How about you guys?
Phil, what about you?
I have to go with Crazy Town just because it was so. I was so happy. I was so happy to see so many of my people happy. Like,
Mhm.
there is a, and I've tried to explain this to my girlfriend several times, but like, I take a certain pleasure in seeing other people that I love happy. Like,
Yeah.
there's just something about that that's like, and people I didn't even know for that matter. It's just,
Mhm.
it warms me in a way that I can't make that happen. That organically has to happen, and I get to watch it. Like, I get this,
Yeah.
and even and it just made me like not self-conscious about I don't dance. I'm a shitty dancer. Like I'm just jumping up and down and enjoying the music. It wasn't too loud. We're out on the patio. There's open air.
Right.
Everybody's having a good time. Nobody's upset. Nobody's crying. Nobody's making drama. And it was just that's my official non-sanctioned event. I think if I'm being honest, I
No, be dishonest, Phil.
No, I mean, if I'm being really honest, like there was obviously a moment in the panel I was on that got a little tender, but really Sarah's panel was so pure and so raw about goal setting, and I couldn't even participate in the activity because I was already too spent. Like it was for what it would have taken for me to look that deep into me at that point, I couldn't do it. So that says something huge about the power of what she presented there. So I
Hmm.
think
Yeah.
that was a big deal for me. Yeah,
She's
by
a,
far.
she's a natural. She's going
Yeah.
places. That Sarah
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waffle.
That kid's got a future.
She's got a future.
Miss Tanya.
Well, I definitely enjoyed both the panels that I was on, and you know, I was touched that so many people came to the regain panel. I mean, we was like
Couldn't
standing
get in the
room
door.
only.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
couldn't get in.
people couldn't even get in.
Yeah,
So
we couldn't get
that
in.
was, you know, from being at other WLSFAs where people didn't attend sessions that well, and then to have that one so full, that was really touching. And then of course the YouTube, and you know, I had a touching moment during our panel when we were asking about you know, marriage and that, and I kind of got emotional, which I never really do. So that was a highlight. But my absolute number one highlight was I'm sorry. It was
Oh,
getting
let's
my
guess.
crown.
Yeah, let's guess. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like, I mean, I told y'all before, like, I know it seems so superficial and all, but as somebody who always wanted a crown, to actually get one, like, I didn't even realize how much I ever wanted to really have a crown and be crowned for anything. But that is like a highlight. Like, it's still highlighted every day of my life. I love it. I love that moment. And of course, there was a time at Lipstick Lounge when I'm watching everybody do karaoke, and I'm like, I am so proud to be friends with so many talented people. Like, I can't do that, but these are my people. Like, I was just so proud. Like, I just love that. So.
Oh my gosh, the crown with the green sequins jumpsuit.
It was totally obnoxious. I know.
Home run, just gone. It's going, gone.
And the 5-inch stilettos, which my feet may never be the same again.
So have you and John had sexy time while you've been wearing the tiara, the crown?
That's private. I think that's inappropriate. I'm drawing
Going
my
too
boundary.
far? Okay. Once the show's over.
Yes is the answer.
Have you seen me very much without the crown since I got the crown?
No.
I haven't seen the picture without.
Question answered. Next question. Let's see.
Tonya FaceTimes me at work, and she still has the crown on at work. I don't understand.
I'm planning on wearing it to work tomorrow. It's Casual Friday, so this is going to be part of my casual attire. Everybody will get a kick out of it. Brian also wants to know who else going to OH.
Me.
I can't.
I can't. I doubt that I'll be at OH. It would be a fluke if I made it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I wish I could. We enjoyed OH when John and I went, but it's just too much. Like, I have to ask my parents to watch my kids every time, and we just have to be really selective. And I know for Portland, we definitely want to come a week before and make a whole vacation of it. So I don't want to just wear out asking my parents for watch them then, watch them here. So yeah.
Can I talk about OH just a little bit in case people are wondering what the differences are or whatever, or why go to one or the other? I think I mentioned this before. It's like Sophie's Choice. Like, you can't ask me to do one or the other. It's like ask me which child I want to keep. But I'll tell you, the highlights of OH typically, if you didn't see this the other night on the Naked Truth, usually they have a fashion show one night, which is really cool because you can send in your before and after pictures ahead of time, and then you get
did that one year.
To walk the runway. So I love seeing people do that, and I just, like Phil, I get so excited seeing people sort of debut their new selves and getting all of that positive affirmation. And then usually, and I think because it's going to be close to the end of September, beginning of October, usually there's like a theme night, a party night. So like one year it was Luau, because I think it was more like in August that year. But the year that it was closer to September and October, there was a costume.
That's when we went. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's usually a fun theme party, and then there is usually the fashion show night.
The fashion show, right.
So it's a little bit lighter in terms of that stuff in the evening. It looks like they've got some great panelist speakers so far. The location is proximity to Disneyland is fantastic. So if you really are making it a weight loss surgery / vacation or whatever, it's totally worth it from that standpoint. And I'm really, 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 really hoping that the organizers of the event get back to me. I have reached out to them, and they have told me to sort of wait for them to get back to me with some information. But I would totally love to see if they'll work with the people who watch our show in terms of if they're on the fence about attending or not. Maybe they could offer some type of incentive or discount for being a 50 Shades of Maintenance person to register. So I'm not going to put them on the spot. I'm not trying to put them on the spot or anything, but I think it's really cool because I would like to talk about it a lot and really promote it. But at the same time, I want to make sure that the folks that are kind of unsure about it from a cost standpoint, if they had an opportunity for maybe a little bit of a discount to make it work, I would love for them to be there.
Yeah.
It's not very expensive to begin with, so it's not that big of a deal. But anything, just to sort of, would be great because it all helps. It really will help some people make the decision as to whether or not they'll go. I'm going to be there. A lot of the Southern California weight loss surgery people will be there. A lot of West Coasters will be there because it's another very well run. It's very different from WLSFA. in terms of what their mission is and that kind of thing. But it's a good time, and it's from what I can see so far, really good people who dedicate their time to it, and a chance to see Patty and Jamie, and I think Melissa's going to come with me from Washington, and Elizabeth will be there, and all of the Southern California people. I'm from Southern California, so my heart is kind of, whenever I see that it's going to be in Southern California, I have to be there. I would be miserable if I knew that was happening without me there. So I'm going. I'm going to have a whole suite full of women.
Make it sound like a bad thing.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Those are my ladies. My ladies.
So
I'm like
Phil, you going?
I'm the only person that the husbands will let them stay with.
Right.
Right.
They don't know you too well. That's like, so OH, and probably not. I mean, it's a very slim chance, but the time of year, the things that are going on around that time frame, make it tricky. And to be honest with you, there are things I committed to. Like I got to get out. I will get out to Washington and see Kirk and Christina and a bunch of other people. I really want to get, Katie, exactly, and I want to get out there. I had made a commitment to go out to Canada, although with certain nuptials and now at play, I'm trying to figure out how that plays into Mexico because they're getting married in Mexico. And WLSFA Oregon, like that has. If I'm going to be a part of that, I really have to start thinking about. And it's going to segue into the Alaska thing.
You're gonna put me on the spot.
That is a no freaking brainer to me. And if I have to sacrifice something, it's going to be for that, hands down, hands down. Yeah. So
what we were thinking about, should we talk about that a little bit? Or?
I think it really should. Yeah.
So what we were thinking about. And this isn't a sanctioned thing at least at this point, but I think some of us, when we talked about, the weekend really just isn't enough time for us to like really do everything we want to do with each other because we feel like we're constantly doing stuff and we're with big groups of people.
Especially if we're going to donate more time. That's my other thought.
Yeah. So the year, well, Phil didn't get to do this, but the year we did the event and then we went on a cruise immediately following, that's where some of the really deeper relationships happened because we were dealing with a smaller group of folks and you really got to just hang out with people. Like you could just been out laying out in the sun and it's kind of like, no place you had to be. There was no schedule. There was no, this, that, or the other. It was just kind of like the connections that were made with people who I had never met before but then decided to go on the cruise are like now people who I just really, really adore. So the idea, because of our proximity in Portland to Seattle, the event is happening right at the beginning of Alaska cruise season. So it's only about a 2.5 to 3 hour drive from Portland to Seattle. And so we could organize a cruise if we, meaning just a core group of grassroots people, organize a cruise to kind of piggyback on the tail end of the trip. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is because I don't want to put a lot of time and effort into the planning of it if there isn't a lot of interest. I don't mind planning it for just a small group of people for us if that's what we would do anyways.
Yeah.
If we wanted to kind of think about maybe taking advantage of having a larger group or take advantage of not advantage, but maybe possibly turn it into some kind of fundraising thing, we can do that as well. But I want people to start thinking about it so that they don't buy their air now a year in advance and do round trip to Portland, because if you're even remotely thinking about doing the cruise, you'll want to hold off on your air because you may want to fly into Portland but then fly out of Seattle. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it does. Yep, absolutely.
So if there's interest in this, if there's interest, be very vocal about it. Post stuff on our Facebook page, whatever. But I need to kind of get a gauge for how interested people will be.
Well, I know Jennifer Mahoney asked about it, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, Kirk. I already talked to my lady friend, and we're definitely interested. I mean, that's a long ways away, and who knows how our relationship goes between now and then. But we're interested.
How will she feel about staying in a separate room, though?
Not like that.
I mean, where's she gonna sleep?
Right, exactly. She can sleep in the other bed while you and I snuggle. That'll be
fine. We can sleep.
Well, Eric can sleep with her. That's pretty much how that'll work.
Well, I know that John and I won't do the cruise just because we definitely want to do. We're going to do the week before, so we'll probably do some Seattle sightseeing and
No,
some
you will do
Portland
the cruise,
sightseeing.
and you will not do Seattle sightseeing.
No.
You're not. Hey, you will go on the cruise.
You're trying to hypnotize.
These are not the vacation you're looking for. Phil and Kirk can go about their business.
Oh no, we basically already planned everything out on the drive home. We had 8 hours to drive home, just the two of us, so we're planned. We know how next year's going to play out.
Hey, how many hours were you into your ride or your drive when I'm calling you, Tanya, I miss you so much, I didn't get to say goodbye?
That was about hour 5. I was like, I was already having the feels, and I'm like, oh no, Kirk's having the feels too. Oh no, this is not going to
around, John, turn around.
I think I said that. I think I said, come back. Don't leave. So funny. So funny. But yeah, so if you're interested in the cruise thing, so yeah, definitely. This is our neighborhood, and we're so excited to have you guys up in this area, everybody. So we want to make it an event / social thing / whatever you want to call it, so something that people never forget and have the best time of their life. So let me know. We did some preliminary search, and just from like just off the street retail preliminary research. If we were to do a Sunday to Sunday cruise, most of the Alaskan cruises are 7 days. We definitely would want one that's round trip, Seattle to Seattle, because where they get really expensive is when you do like Seattle to Alaska, and then you have to pay for air out of some rink.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So the round trip, Seattle to Seattle, 7 days. If you've got at least 2 people to a room, it was about, for an inside cabin, about $649 or something. So with a group, we could really negotiate or leverage our group size and probably either get that price down a little bit or get a lot more perks added to that particular fare. So if people are interested, let me know. We'll start working on it so you can start
Wilson and I approve this message.
Yeah, because what's nice about the cruise lines is we can put you have to put just a very, very small deposit down usually. You don't have to pay for the entire thing all at once, and you can pay for it throughout the year at your comfort level. It's just that there's a certain deadline, I think within 30 or 60 days before the cruise, where they all want whatever the balance due is.
Sure.
If you're a budgeter, you can reserve your spot and reserve the type of room you want a lot of times for less than $100.
Right.
And then you can just make the payments as you'd like throughout the year, and as long as the entire thing is paid by the deadline closer to the actual sailing date, you're good to go. And there's some deals right now. Some of the things that they could throw in for us would be possibly free drink packages, free gratuities.
Well, they're losing their shirt on that, boy.
Yeah. Well, most of the cruise lines are offering a drink package now to where you pay a flat fee and you get unlimited, well, quote unquote unlimited drinks. But it's a pretty decent deal if you think you're going to have more than 5 or 6 drinks in a day.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be, I could barely choke down 1 or 2. So
it'll be a wash.
Yeah. So so that's what we have to say about that.
Cool.
But in terms of no spoilers, but I'll already tell you that the planning committee for this has grown quite a bit, and Laura and Rain and Antonia are going to get a lot of extra help from us because the PNWers are freaking beyond excited. In fact,
then you add like Tanya and me and several other people I've talked to.
Oh, we're gonna get you guys in. So I think I'm going to my first planning meeting next month.
Be careful. Tanya and I, we tend to take over, so be careful.
Right. I'm excited.
I am too.
Yeah.
What kind of other questions have we got, Tanya? I mean, we're already like an hour and a half. I'm good if you guys are good, but I know. We have 32 viewers. This is one of our highest watched shows live.
We answered all the questions that I got, and I was just looking at the Q&A just to see who else watching. Wendy, Allison, and the Haneys, Bran, Christine, Teeny Tiny. They're all watching and commenting, kind of just touching all the things that we've said about throughout the show. I didn't start looking at the Q&A until just now. So, but apparently Jim may be the official. Let me find how he said it. Like, is it the ass grabber? Yeah, no, ass smacker. He's the official ass smacker of the convention.
Nice.
So.
Well, I mean, I don't remember Jim smacking my ass. I did get my ass smacked 3 times.
Apparently it was Waffle. He was all over Chris Waffle, apparently.
It definitely was not Jim. But So okay, so
Oh, John said he's jealous. John said he's jealous that you weren't smacking his ass.
Did you guys have one in particular? And I hate to do this, but it seems like a dovetail here. But not to exclude anybody, but was there one in particular person or two or three particular people that you met that you were just like, wow, I'm so glad I got to meet those people on this trip. Like, wow, I should have made that connection sooner or something like that. We'll start with Tanya.
To Keisha. Like, I was really looking forward to meeting her, and we got so wrapped up. You know how you say you have those deep, meaningful conversations, and we had a long conversation. It was me and Lacey, and Gracie was there, and so much so that I realized we never took a picture together. And I was like, how do we escape this without getting a picture together? But it's because we were having such a good conversation that it wasn't about any of that. It was about what we were talking about, and I wanted to meet her, and she was everything and more than I expected. So I really enjoyed that.
Mr. Kirk?
So my existing friendships got even deeper, I would say, for sure.
I agree with that.
For sure. Because there's several very special moments. But so just because I want to single out maybe just a few people, because I want to prove that you can not necessarily know everybody and still come to one of these things and have a fantastic time getting to know everyone. So the one year, of course, that was Scott, right? Scott was the surprise sort of person who just kind of joined in the fun and now is so deeply within our chosen family. For me, the biggest surprise was somebody who I didn't even get to spend time with until the very last night, and that was Belle from Australia. So I'm claiming her as like one of my like surprise newbies who she was just so much fun, and she was just living in that moment. There was like at the beginning of the tavern tour at Dick's bar or Dick's Last Resort or whatever, there was actually the outline of like a dead body on the ground. She got on the floor and tried to like put herself in the body for the picture, and I'm like, oh my god, this lady's fantastic and not fancy at all and just very down to earth. So I really liked that. I really liked, and then Jennifer is another lady who hung out with that. She was one of the four from dinner that night later on, who I got to know a little bit more, and she's from Southern California, so I'm looking forward to seeing her at OH. I really liked meeting Doug Mullins finally in person because we had been corresponding, or we had been like message boards back in the day of Vertical Sleeve Talk, like 2013, whatever. So it was nice meeting him and his fiancee Jamie. They were so much fun, so much so that I'm going to go to their wedding as long as they don't kill each other first. And this is actually his hat, by the way, I stole. And then I loved saying Dawn the entire weekend. So every time I saw Dawn, I had to say, oh, it's Dawn. It was like, it's Dawn. So I love meeting her. Poor Terry. So Terry, to me, the entire weekend was she was like the metallic booby girl. Like, because I was the one who I met and was like, oh my god, your boobs are fantastic. Because she was wearing this metallic-looking dress and they in cleavage. And I was just like, so for the most of the trip, or most of the weekend, she was, booby girl, metallic booby girl. Loved it. Now, of course, I know it's Terry. Dawn, Terry, Jennifer, Belle, the Mullins, even though they're not married yet, so the Mullins Kings. I think those were sort of my, not surprised, but those were like people who I just constantly was like, saying their names and acting crazy. So,
yeah.
I'm going to go with Jim Haney, hands down. Did not expect, I knew he was a cool dude. Talked to him many times. Did not expect the kind of connection that he and I had. And this is an addition again to our core peeps, which always get stronger. But Jim is 100%, and I knew he would be on the inside crew, and his wife as well. Beautiful woman.
Yeah, they're so much fun.
The Mahornies, I mean, come on.
Oh, the Mahornies. Oh, my God.
I had no idea how amazing those people were. And she is such a cute, sweet little, troublemaker. I love that about her. She's the one with up, this kilt, and her husband's right there. So, I feel totally safe with, there is no
You don't feel like she's gonna rape you.
It's acceptable and appropriate. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, back off of Kevin because I think John and Kevin are having some kind of bromance. John's writing some kind of song about
Right
Kevin.
now for him?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I had messaged Jennifer. I think it was like the weekend after, and I said, why can't we spend every weekend together? Because they are definitely my people. Like,
well, you know
chill.
The compound's almost done. Their
I
compound is
know.
almost done. It's just waiting for that last few inspections. But
We had a moment at Crazy Town where usually I'm the one drinking and John's the one saying it's time to go, and I'm like, no, we're not leaving, and he's like, come on, we're going. I'm like, we're not going anywhere. I don't want to go, and he's like, no, we're going downstairs. Kevin wants us to do shots, and I'm like, yes, I love Kevin.
Exactly, and Kevin's up there on the stage with me. So I got his wife looking at my skirt and him on the stage singing with me. You can't get any better than this. Like it's all good. Like, and nobody's offended. Everybody's having a good time.
Right.
No, and I got the best shoulder massage from Jim, and now I know because he said because of his roots, he does a mean taint scrub. So I am like
his non-Korean scrub.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm so ready. I'm gonna be ready.
and then I think beyond those folks though, but like Patty, I've never met Patty in person.
Oh yeah,
Isn't she stunning?
She's amazing, and like the thing is, like, clearly, respectfully married woman, total flirt. It's totally safe to flirt with her and have fun with. Like me, it was safe. I don't be an inappropriate gentleman, but like I clearly established, like, I know you're married. I'm just flirting for fun, giving Liz a little bit of heartburn over it, just for fun. Which was the other fun person, I would say, Liz. I had met Liz in person.
And she did a fantastic job leading our panel.
Oh my God, phenomenal job on facilitating that panel.
Patty, but let me tell you, Patty is my WLSF wife already. She already claimed me as her WLS husband.
I just told him flirting with your wife. That's all. It's just for fun, just for pure fun. And then Brandy, I thought Brandy was great.
Yes, Brandy. She was fun. Yes.
We talked a lot on Sunday night. We really shared a lot of the deep, painful shit, like the stories and I kind of shared it with Liz and Patty too. But even after that, Brandy and I went off and talked some more. And that was just not Sunday night. I'm sorry, Saturday night, Sunday morning. Really, I mean, and I've kept in touch with her since. Like, I probably text her every day just to say, hey, what's up? How you doing? We're both project managers. She's in the same kind of space with a different kind of company, and we're always sharing professional stuff and as well as just like we connect. We're very much alike. It's kind of funny. So great girl. So glad to.
Her last question was, when are you guys coming to visit your new favorite Texas friend?
Right, exactly. Down to Dallas. Watch out. Well, I beat her back to Dallas because I flew through Dallas to get home, and I'm like, haha, I beat you in Dallas. She was still driving there, yeah.
Oh, I forgot Janine and Ian too. I love spending time with them.
Yes.
They're a young couple, but they're like cool and chill as hell.
Yes.
So yeah, it's nice when there's couples and there's more plus ones because Bridget Scott's plus one. I mean the plus one. Right. There's this line that's starting to blur to where it really doesn't.
Yeah, the Bleachers did a video this week and they were like, "Is that person? Is that? Oh my God. Yeah, right, David. Wait, how about David's moves at Crazy Town? We danced at Crazy Town and I had to give him he actually has some good dance moves. So
yeah, he's.
But yeah, when they did their video this week, they were like, "Is that person WLS?" Like that says something that that's not even a factor anymore. We're all just friends. I don't even know if that person is WLS or if they're just married to somebody who had WLS.
Yeah.
Nope. Yep. I cannot think. I was leery of going for many of my own reasons, but so glad I do it. Like it's exhausting emotionally, mentally, physically as it was. I came home
rejuvenated.
My poor girlfriend. First thing she saw me when I got off the plane, she's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" I'm like, wrecked. You looked wrecked. I'm like, I just got nothing left to give, and but it was worth every ounce of just give, and just so much joy and so much. Yeah, oh man, hands down, I'd do it again. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Something I've seen in the last week, I've watched several videos. I've been catching up on people. I never followed Brandy before, but now I'm catching up on her videos, and there's a few other people. But something that I found that I know it always comes out of WLS, WLSFA, but I'm glad to see it happening again this year. It's like people like, I'm now in this accountability group with this people because we're all going to get back on track, or we're all going to, concentrate on X, Y, and Z. That's another thing that comes out of this event, is that you get your cup refilled and you're ready to take on this year with a new just rejuvenation from it. So, we hit the whole countdown to Nashville with everybody getting on track to be in Nashville, and now it's kind of like I have new connections now, and that always happens at these events, and I like, that's one of the things I really like about it.
I agree.
Awesome.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Do we have any? Are we on our final thoughts?
I think we're on our final thoughts.
I think so.
Anything we want to plug for coming up here? I'm going to start with Kirk. Anything specific other than letting you know if you're interested in the cruise?
Let me know if you guys are interested in the cruise. If you have ideas for WLSFA events next year, you can send them, of course, to the folks that are involved with WLSFA, but then there's some of us PNWers are also going to be on the planning committee for this next year, so if you're not sure if it's an idea you want to officially submit and want some feedback on, feel free to talk to any of us, me, Sarah Waffle, I forget who else is going down or who's going to be there. I think Lindsay Fly was also invited. Anybody that kind of lives in that area and wants to give like extra time and attention to this. Plug. I would really, really, really love to see people who couldn't make it to WLSFA try to make an effort to come to OH, because I would love to see people who weren't able to come to that particular event. So OH will be fun. I promise. It's going to be a blast. That's about it for now, really.
I just want to plug the Crown. The Crown's going to be making some trips this year, so you're going to see it. I'm actually shocking. I have travel plans coming up in the next week and a half, so the Crown's going to be traveling. So be sure to watch out for that on Facebook.
So Disney's about to get another princess, is what I'm hearing.
Not Disney. I'm actually going to see one of my WLS BFFs. I'm going to New York. We're going to see Joe and Sonny. For my birthday week. For my birthday week, so.
So jealous. Is the green sequence jumpsuit going also?
Maybe. I told him I would totally go out in that outfit again.
Especially
in New York.
The Emerald City.
Yeah, that's right.
We're going to call the outfit the Emerald City.
Which would make it really appropriate for you to wear in Seattle, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, Wendy Campbell.
Does that make John Oz the all-powerful Oz?
No, you must be the all-powerful Oz from Down Under.
See? Oh, I'm so good.
Wendy Campbell said we should make that jumpsuit like the traveling WLS romper, where all different WLSs get to try it on and wear it and take pictures in it.
That's funny.
I'm going to plug the fact that I'm getting a kilt, because I loved Kirk's kilt so much. I can't tell you how much fun I have with that kilt. The kilt just made me feel more manly than I've ever felt before.
You wore it so well.
I
love that thing.
Yeah,
I
liked what you wore with yours when you tried it on, so I'm going to wear that on my cruise coming up.
You should. Just keep the whole suit top and then just the kilt.
Yeah.
And just like dark socks, dark shoes, end.
Yeah.
That's not traditional, but it just worked.
Yeah, it totally worked.
I really, really like that. So I will plug one thing. So if you enjoy seeing me squirm, apparently I'm on the hot seat Saturday night.
Yeah.
This is a special night for Naked Truth, because I have Memorial Day plans and I will not be available Sunday night. So they're moving it Saturday night graciously. I believe Mr. Haney and Liz will be my interrogators. So you should definitely show up for that. That'll be at 5 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Central, and 8 o'clock Eastern. Or just tune in and watch it after the fact if you got a great Memorial Day going on. Which brings us to remember why Memorial Day is Memorial Day. And if you have served in our armed forces, I thank you in advance. And that is never something that I take lightly. So thank you for your service.
Yes.
And if you know somebody who served, please pass on our gratitude. That's a big deal.
Yes.
All right, before I do the sign-off, parting words, anybody have anything additional?
No, it just if you have any topics y'all want us to talk about next month in June, let us know, and we'll be happy to explore.
We should talk about bathing suits.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good.
Summertime.
Summertime.
Yeah.
Yep.
Summertime.
We can all model our bathing suits.
There
Right.
you go.
Well,
How-
you know
how
what I wear.
We can talk about how to hide problem areas.
Yeah.
Problem
That's
areas.
cool.
Very good.
Problem areas.
It's like the private area. All right, guys. Hey, this is a great show, and I've been looking forward to this all week. So
Me too.
thank you for almost a 2-hour run. Thank you, guys. We have 24 viewers still, 25. Thank you guys for sticking in there. For those of you that are watching it in replay, and it's probably the biggest show we've had live yet.
Yeah.
And we don't take that lightly. It's we really do try and give back 100%, all of us, and you guys make it worth it. So thank you so much. Alrighty, so I'll see you Saturday night. Until then, don't define your world in black and white, because there's so much hiding amongst the gray.